Hi, this is Vincent here, and today we're going to do another video. And this time around, it's NSX for vSphere integrated containers. Right? This video will consist of a demo. So let's talk about the challenges that we have with a generic container host. Right? This is your um, Docker container host where you can run Docker containers. Right? For example, Apache and PHP container itself. So you'll be running the containers. If you have multiple of them, they are all running in the same host, right? So for example, some of the challenges, it will be, for example, if I would like to block container traffic trying to reach a database server, um, by putting a firewall rule, I will effectively block the whole host and any containers that's running in the host itself, right? And from a visibility point of view, I don't get to see um, traffic or IP address from the containers because they are all netted to the host IP address, and therefore I lose the visibility with this solution, right? So what's vSphere integrated containers, right? Basically, it consists of three components. Uh, the first one is the container engine, right? So it allows you to run containers, and the containers will appear like a VM, right? There is also part of VIC. There's also the harbor, which is the um enterprise ready registry for your containers, and there's also the um, Admiral, which is the management portal for your containers as well as the container host, right? So basically, VIC itself uses the same vSphere infrastructure that you use for your VMs itself, and with the same infra, you can actually use to run containers. All right. So the benefit of this uh, solution, because the containers run just like a VM, whatever tools that you provide for your VMs, you can actually use it for the container itself, right? So let's take a look at the same use case again, where you have two containers, right? The developer will still gets to use the same uh, Docker commands to spin up the containers. But let's say now you would like to block the Web2 container to the database server, right? In this case, because the container is like a VM, you can actually control, can put a firewall rule just for this container itself, and without affecting the other container itself, right? And in terms of visibility, you get to see traffic originating from the container itself using its own IP address, and um, and it's not netted at all, right? So let's proceed with the demo. All right, so what I have here is NSX itself. So what I'm gonna do is I already have the database ready, so I'm going to write a firewall rule, right, so that I can see all the traffic going to the database server, right? So let me add a rule, NSX for VIC, right? And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in um, the database server that I'm going to be using. So let me choose the VM. Right, this is the VM. Okay, and I'm going to what I can do here is I can start logging all the traffic, right? I can put log and I can put a tag to it. So I will put like NSX VIC, right? So it would be easier for me to search later on, right? So 2DB, right? Let me push this firewall rules here. Okay. So let me now go into assume that I am the developer itself, right? So this is the developer desktop. I have previously provisioned a Linux virtual machine, a large one, so that I can run a couple of containers inside there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this container and find out what's the IP address. So it's 192.168.191.69. So I have a SSH session running. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to SSH to the machine, right? So 191.69. Okay. I'm going to spin up two containers, right? So if I go and take a look at this Docker container host, there's no containers running, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin up containers. Okay, hang on a minute. Let's see. I should have some commands already running here. Alright, so let me spin up web1 port 81, right? Running a Apache PHP container itself. Okay. Okay, so this is the first container, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a test page that I have. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to start the Apache server. Okay, let me go back to my Docker container host, and right now if you can see there's one container, alright, and it's mapped to port 81, right? So let me launch a browser and go to the container itself, right? So the IP address, oh yeah, let me show you what's the IP address. The IP address is 191.61. Okay, so I'll go 191.69 port 81. Okay, and to access the test page that I just written, that you will access the database, you can say that, hey, yep, the connection to the database is successful, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spin up another one for web2, and I'm going to map it to the port 82. Okay, same thing again. I'm going to load the same file. Okay, and I'm going to start the Apache service. Alright, so you can see that I have two containers running. Okay, let me launch another tab, and this time around I'm going to access port 82. You can see that, okay, it's successful to the database server. So now I'm going to take a look at some of the logs, right? Let me go to the NSX manager and let me launch the login site itself. Right. So previously I have used a tag, so I can actually use a tag to search, and in the last 5 minutes I actually have some traffic going through, and you can see that it's actually coming up from the container host itself, right, to the database server, right? So let's say I have the use case to say that I want to block a particular container to the database server, right? So I will change it to block, and now I want to do a block. but the only traffic that I'm able to see from the firewall is actually the container host. So if I were to put in the container host IP address, right, um, basically I will block all the traffic from, or rather all the containers from the host itself. So if I were to go back to the developer desktop again, and if I were to try accessing the page, you can see that both are blocked, right? That's because these servers are netted behind the container host, right? Which is it poses the problem. It poses a problem, right? So let me now um, try to do the same scenario again on VIC, right? So let me leave all this alone, and let me exit the container host. All right. So with VIC itself, um, once the container host is spin up, you will be provided with the parameters. You can actually put it into your Docker client, for example, or container client. So this is what I'm going to do here. When you do that, when you do a Docker info, you are actually connecting to the VIC container host, right? So I can do the same commands like what I did before in the container host. You can actually see, I'm sorry, these are the containers running in the VCH. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin up the same two containers using the same image, right? I'll name it web1 and web2. Okay, so the same test page that I have. And start the Apache service. Okay. The difference here is I actually specify a network over here, right? So this actually will use the container network rather than the default, which is the bridge network. So in this case, when I do a if config, I can actually see the exact IP address that is being assigned to this container itself. So if I were to launch the browser, right, in this case, 8, okay, the test page, you can see that the connection to the database, the page loads successfully, and the connection to the database is also successful, right? So if I were to go back again and spin up another one, right? Okay, this time around I'm going to do web 2. All right, and I'm going to do load the page again. Okay, and I'm going to start the Apache service, and let me find the IP address, which is 10.10.12.9. So I will go .9. Okay, let me launch another tab then. 9/index.php. Right, and there you go. This is the page loads and connects to the database. So what I'm going to do is, let me go back to the firewall rule again, and let me remove the IP address, and I'm going to do the same, right? Let me allow the traffic first, and I do lock. Right? So let's see what you see, what traffic is being locked by doing this, right? So let me launch some traffic first. Back here, start refreshing. Okay, and let's see what I see on the logs. So if I go back here again and I do a refresh, I can actually see that the actual IP address of the container accessing the database itself, right? So 10, 10, 12, 8, and I believe there is also 12, 9, right? You can see that it's accessing the database, right? Traffic is allowed pass. Okay, so now the same use case again. I want to, for whatever reason, I want to block 12.9 from accessing, right? So 12.9, it's web 2, so I can actually go into the source here and pick that VM, which is basically the container itself, right? Web 2, right? This is the one, and I just want to block this. Right? Okay, let me go back to the login site, and okay, before I do that, let me go into the developer desktop again, and let me launch the browser. Okay, so this is the web 1, right? Let me try to refresh. You can see that it's loading, right? For this, now you can see the web 2 is not loading, right? The connection to the DB will actually get timeout. So let me log into login site. So if I do a refresh again, you can see that 12.9 is actually being dropped, right? So the connection haven't timed out yet. So basically you get to see the logs directly from the container itself, right? There's no net at all, right? So that's the end for the demo, and go back to the slides. Okay. So in summary here, right? So with NSX for VIC, right? You get better security. You're able to do micro-segmentation, right? From a central policy to achieve your zero trust model. Right? You also get to have better asset utilization because you don't need to have a separate infrastructure for your containers itself. You can use the same vSphere infrastructure for containers as well as your VM. Right? It doesn't put any or slow down your developers. Right? Basically, they have the same tools or the same commands to they are familiar with to spin up the containers they require for their cloud native applications. So that's all. I hope this video is useful to you, and thank you for watching.